Hello there. Today I'm going to talk about fractions, decimals and percentages. Now throughout your school career you've known some basic ones that are the same. So you know that a half is equal to 0.5. That's also equal to 50%. So basically they're a way of checking the same amount for each in several different ways. So what we've done with percentages so far is we've said if we wanted to look at 73%, we've realised that that was 73 per cent, and we knew that that meant 73 divided by 100, and that is 0.73. But we could also represent this 73 divided by 100 in a different way, recognising that actually the correct way to write divide is like that. So that writes it as a fraction too. And so 73% is 0.73 or 73 over 100. So that's all quite good if we start with a percentage. Now say we were to start with a decimal, 0.29, let's make it a bit harder. Now we recognise that when we divide by 100 we move the decimal point 2 places. So if we hadn't divided by the 100, we could move the decimal point 2 places back, which would give me 29.3%. And also, if we hadn't divided by 100, this here would be 29.3 over 100. And there's an issue with that, in that we can't have a decimal within a fraction, so I would times by 100, and that would give me, times by 10, you don't need to times by 100, times by 10 to get rid of that decimal, so 293 over 1,000. Now if you were to look at a fraction, if it was given first, so say you were given the fraction 5/8, you have to recognise that that is a divide. So I would say, right, how many 8s go into 5? How many 8s go into 5? 0. Where do we go from there? Well, we put the decimal point in and carry the 5 across. How many 8s go into 50? Is 6, remainder 2. How many 8s go into 20? Is 2, remainder 4. How many 8s go into 40? Is 5. So that is 0.625. And remembering that to go from a percentage to a decimal, you divide by 100. So doing the opposite direction, you would times by 100, which should give you 62.5%. So that's covered going from a percentage to a decimal to a fraction, going from a decimal to a percentage to a fraction, and going from a fraction to a decimal to a percentage. Sometimes if you were given a fraction, you might say, okay, what is it as a percentage? You'd have to go through this route anyway. Now, typical question on this type of thing could be put into order. And you might get something like a third, 30%, and 0.34. So when we're doing that, we might want to convert them all to the same thing. So I might say that that is 0.30. I might say that this one, if I had to do 3's into 1, I'll go 0, remainder 1, 3, remainder 1, 3, and it's a common one to know that that is 0.33, etc. So if I was to think about the smallest of these, that would be this one. So I've got 0.30, and then I've got 0.33 and whatever comes next, and then we've got 0.34. So in order, we have 30%, a third, and then 0.34. So by making them into the same thing, we can then compare them and put them in order. Okay? Right, excuse my dog, he's all of a sudden decided he was really hungry.